Hi everyone, it's Marianne. Welcome to Happy Paper People. We are today doing making a junk journal start to finish, or a book, whatever you want it to be. This is part 2. So part 1, we took our book board or chipboard, 2 cover pieces and our 1 spine piece, and we put them together with Tyvek, and then we covered the book with a paper that we chose for the front and back cover. They don't quite meet, and that's totally fine because we are going to cover that spine. Okay, now if you were with us at Monday Jumpstart, where we are making this book live together, step by step, at Monday Jumpstart, the spine I did with the bookbinding tape, this bookbinding tape, instead of Tyvek. That way you could watch part 1 of the tutorials and see how to use the Tyvek, and if you wanted you could watch the part 1 of the Monday Jumpstart and see how to use the bookbinding tape. So I've done one with each there. And then we went ahead and put the paper on the inside, and I just put a piece down the spine that matches the inside. I kind of left it at that because I'm thinking I might want to do something gold over the spine. So we'll deal with that one later. Today we've got the book that we made in part 1, and we need to do the spine, and we also need to get the paper on the inside, and then we need to deal with anything else we want to do on the spine that needs to go on before we put our hidden binding in, or hidden spine in. So I have 3 pieces of paper selected. I took 2 12 by 12 sheets to cut these, but these are selected to be the inside end paper for my book, and I cut it at, now remember our book board was 6 by 9 tall, and so I want just about 1/8 of an inch around as a border when I put this on like this. So I cut this at 8 3/4 tall, 8 3/4 high, and then for the width I cut 1 at 7 1/2 and 1 at 7 1/4, so that they will meet and they will end up just right with the right amount of border around, and they don't have to meet in the exact middle. It doesn't really doesn't even matter. So that's what I have there. And then I cut a piece for the spine, the outside of the spine, and this piece is going to cover the spine. You know, I didn't measure it side to side. I'm hoping that it goes around. Yeah, it'll go around a little bit. Maybe, I don't want it to go around a whole lot because I really love this paper and I want it to show. So, but hopefully it goes around enough. So we are 9 inches tall, and so just like the cover paper, we cut that at 11 inches tall, so we'd have 1 inch to wrap on each side. I cut this at 11 inches tall, so I would have 1 inch to wrap. We're going to put that on right here and have 1 inch to wrap on each side. And we're going to put that on first, so then we can put our inside the book cover paper. So let's go ahead and get that prepared right now. I am going to, let me move this over to the side for just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and do it with double-sided tape, double stick tape again. Let's see, I've had several rolls of tape run out. All were partial. I'm going to go again, like I mentioned when we did part 1, I like to do a full perimeter. Let's make sure this doesn't tear. This red line tape doesn't tear. You need to cut it. But I'm going to do a full perimeter, so I make sure all the edges are down, and then I'll put some in the center. And I like the red line tape and the score tape. They hold it quite well. Scrapbook.com tape holds quite well as well for me. And I do know that different tapes work differently in different parts of the country, and that could be, or even in different parts of the world, and that could be due to the humidity, the temperature, you know, whatever the weather is in your area. So just because you find that something doesn't work well in your area, doesn't mean it won't for somebody else, and vice versa. If somebody says that it didn't work well for them, that doesn't mean that it won't for you. So always feel free to try anything that you feel the urge to try, because some things, you know, you can't base everything on somebody else's experience unless they live in your state and have same, you know, same type climate. Then it might have a little more credence. Okay, so I'm going to put one more down the middle here. All right. So I'm wondering how many of you were at Monday Jumpstart or have gone back and watched Monday Jumpstart because you weren't able to be there and are making the journal along with us, and then are watching the tutorials because it's a little shorter. The tutorial is shorter, and let's see, where's our pointy tweezers. Easier to probably pause while you do a step if you want to. You know, pause and start it up again, because it's, yeah, gonna be, it's a lot shorter. The Monday Jumpstart is 2 hours, and we went just a little over, about probably 2 hours and 15 minutes or so, and because I didn't want to leave it in the middle of a step that we were working on. And part 1 of this was 1 hour and 12 minutes. This part 2 is going to be much shorter than that because we are only doing a couple of steps. And then part 3, we will go the next. Part 3, let's see, part 3 will be getting the signatures together and binding the signatures to the hidden spine, and then attaching the hidden spine to the book cover. And then, so we will do that this next Monday if you are watching live, and making sure that I've got it face up because there is some writing there. Okay, and then we'll be to decorating it. Okay, so this I do want to be centered so that I will have equal amounts on both sides. So I am going to try this. Let's see, I know I've got about an inch on each end. That's about right. Okay. It's watching how much is going over the edge. That's a little bit more awkward. Just going to lay it down like that. Okay, I did not burnish that on, I just set it on, hoping that when it's a little farther up here than down on the bottom. But at least there's enough to wrap around on both sides. That's all we need. So it doesn't matter if it's higher. I did leave an inch on each end, so if I got a little more than an inch here, I've still got enough to wrap around here. So let's go ahead and bend it and get that paper ready to crease. And, or not necessarily to crease, but to wrap. Okay, and we do need to burnish this down, so I'm going to grab a bone folder, give it a good burnish there. Get it down into the groove there. And you want to be careful not to do this with something sharp so that you end up cutting it as you go down to the groove. Your fingers are great for that. All right, let's then bend the other side so that paper gets bending nicely, ready to roll around. Bring it around here, right in the center, work our way out. Okay, let's burnish that one down. Okay, so we can get down in that divot a little bit. All right, then let's turn it over, and we want to burnish this side. Let's see, there's our divot right there. So let's burnish all the way up and down here and in the center. Probably would help to get the big fat bone folder and do that instead of little bitty one doing little tiny bits at a time. Okay, and let's see if we can fold here. There we go. There we go. Okay, we'll just work with that just a little bit there. Okay, okay, so our spine is on. Our spine cover. Our spine cover with paper is on, and that wraps around just a little bit, and that looks quite nice. Matches the paper nicely. Okay, and now we're going to do the inside. So got these two pieces. Doesn't really matter which is on. They're actually identical, cut from two 12 by 12s. So one is 7.5 and one is 7.25 wide, so that they'll fit nicely and leave that correct amount that I want, about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. So it doesn't really matter which one is on the left or the right, because they are the same. So I'm going to go ahead and get a perimeter of tape here, and I have a feeling this one's going to run out very quickly. I should have grabbed some more wide tape before I started the camera, but I didn't. I've got a couple of rolls here that are pretty thin, but better than nothing, I suppose, huh? I just didn't go grab out of the closet any more wide. All right. Okay, you can put this down with double stick tape or with glue, you know, Fabri-Tac, art glitter glue, barely art glue, Stamperia glue, whatever adhesive's your favorite. Use whatever you like for paper. Honestly, doesn't really matter. Use whatever you like. And this might be the last strip on here. Yep, sure is. At least it will get us to the end there, just barely. Okay. All right, now let's see. A couple of those were kind of hanging over. I am gonna trim those off. I think that's it. Okay. All right, so now I'll take a smaller tape. It just takes more when it's smaller. But I do like a wider one around the perimeter whenever possible. But I'll just put a few, because this is so much thinner, I'll put a few more strips than maybe I would have down here. Oops, that one's a little crooked. Alright, the paper will still come off, and the tape will, boy, I can't see it white on white, and the glare in my eye, I can hardly see where I put it. Okay, alright, let's go ahead and turn this one over. I'm going to use the red Even though it's thinner, I'm going to use this around the perimeter because it's a whole lot easier to see. Yeah, I know this is the laborious part. Watching me tape paper. But the whole thing won't, this whole video won't take too long because it's a short step. So I guess I could have already had this part done before turning on the film too. So what do you want to think of here? Yeah, I am, squirrel, I am curious if you are following along with us on Monday Jumpstart, the lives, and making a journal or a book along with us. Please leave a comment. Let me know if you are, or if you aren't able to make it to Monday Jumpstart, but you're doing it along with us with these tutorials. I'd like to know if it's a benefit to anybody, if it's helping anybody learn how to make a book, make a journal, start to finish. There are so many different ways to bind these books, and there's so many different ways to do every single step. So don't freak out if somebody says, well, I do it this way and I do it that way. You know, there's several different ways to do every step, and I do them differently too, depending on what kind of book I'm doing and, you know, the style of it and what my goal is, what my end result is going to be, all of that. So you have to start somewhere. If you've never made a book before, you need to start with a book, any style. And this is a good one because if you learn how to do this and you know that hidden binding, then you're also going to learn the pamphlet stitch in this one. So you're actually learning two binding methods in one. So after this book, you will be able to make like single signature journals that you maybe put cardstock or heavier paper around, or wallpaper, you know, as the cover, and bind them pamphlet style. You'll be able to do that. You'd also be able to make any hardback book of any size. The size just depends on the spine width and how many signatures you want to put in. You could do anything from 1 to, you know, 4, 5, 6, whatever you want, with the hidden spine. So you'll have the ability to immediately do several different types of journals. And that's why I think that this is a good one to start with, because it gives you a good base with multiple options instead of you know, just one thing. And as you go along, and you'll see different things, and you'll try different things, and then you'll figure out what you like the best. And maybe, like me, you like different ones depending on, you know, what you're doing. I like them all, so I use them at different times for different purposes. So, but it's good to have them all under your belt, or at least, you know, several, so you have some options there. All right, so let's go ahead and get the tape uncovered here. Let's see if we can rip these off pretty fast. Get through the boring part of tape and uncovering tape. Put that down. So I mentioned the spine, that we needed to look at the spine if there's something else we want to do with it that needs to be done before we put that hidden binding down. And that is if you want to be able to hang something or dangle something from the spine. Do you want to put a dangle or a tassel or a charm or something like that? And if you do you want to use an eyelet or a hitch post with a ring or a ring fastener? I will show you what that is in just a minute, because we're going to put one on this book so that it is there and ready to go. Let's get this one undone as well. Yeah, so many pieces of tape because it's so thin. I do like the wider tape when doing things like this. It's less pieces of tape. It takes less length. And maybe it doesn't even need this much, but I sure like to make sure that it's it's not going anywhere for sure. Okay, that end was a little bit long, so I'm just going to turn it back on itself because it's sticky on both sides. So if I turn it back on itself, it's sticking down, but the underside will also stick to the paper when we put it down. Now, if you put this down and you think you're not very confident about how that you're going to be able to put it down straight the first time, a little trick is to put some wet glue, just a bead of wet glue on the top of your tape. So like our glitter glue or whatever you use, a bead of wet glue across the, just, you know, one little one. You don't have to cover the whole tape. But that makes it wet, so you have a few seconds to move the paper around before the tape actually completely adheres itself down. So, all right, I am going to make sure I've got this right side up. And there, that is right side up. Okay, and then I'm going to come over here. Let's see, is this the big one? It is. Okay, so I do have a mark here that if this is the 7.5 one, that's about where it should go to, but that doesn't seem quite right. Maybe it will be when I put it down. I do want to try to make it as straight as possible so that I have equal distance from the top and the bottom. That way the other one will line up with it. I'm not going to press that down quite yet until I get this one on. But if it is straight, then this one can line up to it like that and should just be able to go right off of that one and be straight all the way across. Okay. Just burnish this one with fingers. And because this is not yellow right here, I could have turned it around upside down even, or cut a different part of the paper. So there's yellow right here. You wouldn't see this line so much. You do because there's text right here and yellow right next to it. But I'm not real worried about that. Let's see. Just use something to burnish it down. Right down the middle. All right. Okay, now let's gently bend it. Gentle, gentle. And gentle on this one too. So we've got a bunch of layers of paper here now. Okay, so there is our journal cover with our spine, our inside paper, all ready to go, all ready to attach signatures inside. Now, if we want to be able to put something on the spine, say a ring fastener, this is what a ring fastener is. It is basically a brad, and it's got a ring hanging down from it. This one is from Stamperia, and if we wanted to put that up here somewhere, then we would want that brad. We put that brad through, but we would want that brad to be covered on the other side, right? So we could have put it through before we put this end paper down. Not really concerned about that though, because we're still going to put down the hidden spine, and that's what's going to cover it completely. So we'd want to look and see where exactly we would want it, and find exactly where we would want it to be on the book. Let's see if I can do this so that you can see it at the same time. If I hold that little brad end, if I say, okay, I would like to have it right there. It's close enough to the top. It's just a little bit down. You know, I could hang whatever I wanted from there. Okay, so say that's where we want it. Then I want to center it left to right, and I can eyeball that, or I can measure it. And I'm eyeballing that, and I think that's pretty darn centered right there. I do want to mark it with a pencil. See if it stayed in the same place. Okay, I want to mark. So where I want to mark is right in the center, because that's where my hole is going to be. And see if this will come out far enough that I can get it in there and do a little mark on this side and a little mark on that side. Let's see if I got a mark. Oh, I did. Okay, I got 2 little marks there. Oops. So now I can look and see if they're centered. That's about where I'd want it. So I think I might have moved it a little bit to the side. So I can grab a ruler and say if this is, oops, hold on to it, almost 3 inches, not quite. It's 2.5 plus the divots on the side. So I'm going to kind of center that. That 1.5 would be the center point, which is at this mark. So the smaller of the 2 marks is actually the center point, and that's about the height that I wanted it. So I know that that's where I want it then. So then I'm going to take my crocodile, and let's see if I will need the larger hole or the smaller one. I think I will probably need the larger hole, and I don't know if this one's going to go in far enough. Hopefully it does, but it may not. And it may be a little thick, and if it is, then I'll just need to get the large crocodile. Yeah, that's not going to go in quite far enough. Okay, so you can always use an awl to punch this hole or poke this hole, because it's going to be covered. It doesn't even need to be a perfect hole, because it's going to be covered by this ring fastener itself, and the inside is going to be covered as well. So I'm going to move this up here. Let's see. I'm going to take it to the larger hole, so you can see there the, I wonder if it'll actually go through the smaller one. No, I feel like it's going to need the large one. So, okay, so this is the Crocodile Big Bite, and it's a big bite because it'll go into the center of a 12 by 12 piece of paper. It is made by We Are Memory Keepers. And I just need to be able to see. I'm going to try to let you see here as well, but I can see where the, oh, I don't know if that's going to work. Maybe I do it this way. You can see where the cutter comes out right there. And so I need to get that right on top of my mark. And so I can push it out just a little bit to see where it is. And boy, with shadows, that is really hard to see. All right, and then just push it down. Super easy to do. This goes through lots of stuff. It'll go through, you know, aluminum, copper, all kinds of stuff. So 4 or 5 layers there is no big deal for it at all. So there's our hole. So then I'm going to take the brad, put the feet together, and put them into the hole like that. And bring it over. I'm going to hold it tightly against the hole, and I do want the ring to be hanging down, and then I will just separate the legs like that. Now I can go ahead and put a spot of glue under them to hold them in place. A glue that would hold, will attach metal and paper and whatever, whatever strong glue you like to use. Maybe it's E6000, maybe it's Fabri-Tac. Trying to get it bent down a little farther. It's kind of hanging up, but it won't be when we get the hidden spine glued on here. It'll have plenty of adhesive on it. So I may go ahead and put just a little bit of E6000 or Fabri-Tac probably underneath that, and that is good to go. So there is our journal cover right there, and then part 3, we will put the signatures together. We will bind them to the hidden spine, and then we will attach that onto here, and our journal will be complete. And then we'll be ready to decorate it. So if you are following along with us on Monday Jumpstart, this is the one that I am making on the Monday Jumpstart. And so this coming Monday, the first thing I'll do is put a ring or something up here in the same manner that I did that. And then we will go ahead and do our signatures and get them attached to the hidden spine and get the hidden spine put in. So you're welcome to join us on Monday Jumpstart. That is every Monday at noon Mountain Time. It's always at Mountain Time. And so you can figure your time accordingly. Pacific would be an hour before and earlier, and Central is an hour later. Eastern is 2 hours later. So love to have you join us. We have tons of fun at Monday Jumpstart. We do all kinds of fun stuff. It's an interesting day. Thursdays we do mass makes. Thursday at 2 p.m. Mountain Time. We do mass makes, things that you can have ready to go for your journals. And then Saturday nights, on the 2nd and 4th Saturday of the month, we do Saturday Night Live Laugh and Craft. And we laugh and we craft. And we have some games that we play. Sometimes we have a tutorial, some fun things to make. Sometimes people tell me what to do, and I'll have a guest on with me doing that, and that's a ton of fun. We have no idea what they're going to tell us to make and what we're going to have to use to make it, and it's always a hoot. So it's just a wonderful bunch of people and happy paper people. If you're a part of us already, then you know exactly what I'm saying, and if you're not yet, we sure invite you to join us. You are more than welcome, and we know that you'd have a good time. So until next time, have the rest of a wonderful day and a great week, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.